Well, with the nature of this rivalry and the number of times that they've met in the regular season, I guess it was fitting that these two teams were meeting in the playoffs. Anyway, let's cue that intro card here, please. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here. Welcome to my Calgary Hitmen in the WHL Playoffs. Here we are up to episode number 16 here, and this is where I'll preview the second round matchup here as the Calgary Hitmen, after they defeated the Lethbridge Hurricanes 4-3 there in their thrilling first round series there. The Calgary Hitmen draw the Edmonton Oil Kings as the Edmonton Oil Kings in their series defeated the Medicine Tigers in their first round series 4-2 here. So this is now the Western Conference semifinal here. And before I get deep into the review here, I just want to apologize that I'm a little late on this video here, as I've been sick the last couple days and really been feeling like garbage. And I mean, this cold has really been kicking my ass here. It's very symbolic of I'm battling a cold here as we're previewing another chapter here in the Battle of Alberta here. So by the time this is going to likely be up live here, Game 1 will just be starting here. But, I'm slowly starting to feel better here. And I did put in a couple days when I probably shouldn't have, but I had too much to do in the office there. But, sometimes you got to try to take care of yourself here, and slowly I'm starting to feel better here, so hopefully I don't have any coughing fits here. So anyway, besides talking about being sick here, it's sick now in a good way that we're going to have a Calgary Edmonton, battle here, and there's nothing better than a Calgary Edmonton battle in the playoffs here, especially in hockey here when we need the best set of series to decide the outcome here. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow along with that bell icon. And obviously I do the Calgary Sports recap and throw in the odd burst of vlog and, attempt at comedy and all my scenery stuff when I do, get out of town here. So I'll bring up my notes here and try to do the simple format on what I did when I previewed the series going in against the Lethbridge Hurricanes here. Is I'll break down in terms of how the matchup sits in the regular season series, and break down a couple facets of the game, and then ultimately give my conclusion and prediction here. I look at once again the WHL website, and I also discovered this Dub Network. I have links in the description below, where they do a pretty good job at covering junior hockey and the Western Hockey League. So as I say, now that in the Western Hockey League we started with 22 teams, 60 makes playoffs. Now we're down to 8 here, and then we got the Ontario Hockey League. They're down to their final 8, and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So there's 8 more teams there. So there's still 24 teams in the hunt here for the chase for the Memorial Cup, which this year in 2019 is in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and I think I actually saw that the Memorial Cup in 2020 will be in Kelowna, British Columbia. So that's next year. So anyway, let's take a look at this year here. So here we are here, the second round series preview, episode 16, divisional rankings here. Well, the Edmonton Oil Kings won the Central Division. They finished first. They were 42, 18, 4-4 with 92 points. And the Calgary Hitmen, they finished third in the Central. They were 36, 26, 5-1 with 78 points here. So definitely, once again, we're underdogs. 14-point differential there, but not that much more than when we were 12 points behind the Lethbridge Hurricanes there. So I'm going to say coming in, we're just as much of an underdog with Lethbridge or Edmonton as we were with Lethbridge here. So going back to brief history on WHL Championships here, actually both teams have 2 titles here. The Calgary Hitmen has been around since the 94-95 season here, but the Edmonton Oil Kings, this franchise, I think their first season was the 2007-8 season here, so they definitely had some recent success here. The Calgary Hitmen, they won their WHL in 1999 and 2010 to go to the World Cup, while the Edmonton Oil Kings, they won their WHL titles in 2012 and 2014, and most recent 2014 was done by current head coach of the Calgary Hitmen now, Steve Hamilton. So there's a storyline there. One storyline that I probably didn't mention in the previous series there, that the Lethbridge head coach was Brent Kissio, another guy that he's related to Kelly Kissio, who's definitely spent a lot of time, building up the Calgary Hitmen. Was a brother. Kelly, he was coaching the Lethbridge Hurricanes there, so that was another storyline that I probably should have thrown in the previous series, but this series now is, Steve Hamilton. Could he come back and, on his former team? So when it comes to World Cup history, actually the Edmonton Oil Kings won the Memorial Cup in 2014 over the Guelph Storm, and then that one World Cup was in London, Ontario that year, and then in 2012 they got eliminated in round robin play. So the Edmonton Oil Kings actually have clinched the ultimate title prize in the junior hockey here, while the Calgary Hitmen, they've never won the Memorial Cup overall here, and we lost the final against the Ottawa 67s in overtime, and then we lost the semifinal against the Brandon Wheat Kings in 2010, once again in overtime here. So we definitely had some heartbreak in the World Cup there. So now when it comes to playoff history here, this season will be the 3rd time that the Calgary Hitmen and Oil Kings will meet in the playoffs here. Most recently in 2013, it was the Eastern Conference Finals, so birth to the League Championship here. The Edmonton Oil Kings did defeat the Calgary Hitmen 4-3 there, so we acquired all 7 games there. And at that time, they used the conference format, the top 1 to 8 here. That year, the Edmonton Oil Kings were number 1, while the Calgary Hitmen were number 3 here. So it was a heavyweight matchup, and it was a classic there. Well, in 2009, in the Eastern Conference quarterfinals, so this will be the first round, the Calgary Hitmen swept the Edmonton Oil Kings 4 straight. That year, the Calgary Hitmen were the number 1 ranked team in the West, or the East, and the Edmonton Oil Kings were 8, so that was one of their 8 conference format. So we definitely were favored that season and won. So both teams are 1-1 in playoff history there. Excuse me. So when it comes to the regular season series here, as much as you want to build up rivalries in that, it actually seems like a lot that we play 68 games in the regular season here. And we played Edmonton 8 times here, and when you pay attention to the game of that season, it's like we play them so much, so often in a short time here. So anyway, back in Game 3, this was a home opener, and I was actually at that game, which happened on Saturday, September the 29th. The Edmonton Oil Kings won the first game 6-3 there, and definitely when I was at that game, the Oil Kings definitely looked like the better team overall all game there, and Calgary just couldn't hold away in the 3rd period there. And then on Game 28, this was actually the only time the Calgary Hitmen defeated the Edmonton Oil Kings in the regular season here. So Game 28, Saturday, December 1st, the Calgary Hitmen beat the Edmonton Oil Kings 4-3 in overtime. The first 2 games were played here in Calgary. And then on Game 33, this was the first game played in Edmonton. On Saturday, December 15th, the Edmonton Oil Kings beat the Calgary Hitmen 3-2 in overtime there. And then Game 35, because there was a Christmas break in between there, on Friday, December 28th, the Edmonton Oil Kings defeated the Calgary Hitmen 7-3. That game was in Edmonton. And then game 43. This happened on Saturday, January the 19th. This game was in Edmonton, and the Edmonton Oil Kings defeated the Calgary Hitmen 3-2 there. And then it wasn't until game 65, we played them 3 of the last 4 games of the regular season here. So game 65, this game was in Calgary on Friday, March 8th. The Edmonton Oil Kings came on top 5-1 there. And then game 67, this is on Saturday, March 16th. That game was in Edmonton. The Edmonton Oil Kings won 6-1 there. And then game 68 to conclude the regular season series here. This happened on Sunday, March 17th there. The Edmonton Oil Kings won 3-1 there. So Edmonton went 7-1 in the regular season, or if you look at Calgary's point of view, we went 1-6-1 here, where we only won 1 game in overtime and lost 1 in overtime, and the Edmonton Oil Kings hadn't beat us in regulation here. But a couple of these games are, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 of those games were 1-goal games, and 2 of them went to overtime here. So, well, it still looks like a mismatch. But so was the regular season series with the Lethbridge Hurricanes there, and here we are talking about previewing the second round series here. So I'm going to say this will be another case of let's throw out the regular season out the window here, despite the 14-point gap, and it's Calgary Edmonton here, and usually happens in most sports here. When Calgary and Edmonton meet, you can almost throw away everything out the window here. So in the regular season series here, the Edmonton Oil Kings were led by Vince Levishow with 6 goals, 4 assists for 10 points, followed by Quinn Benjafield, who had 9 points for the Oil Kings, and Connor McDonald. And it's very interesting that they got Connor McDavid up at Edmonton for the NHL, who plays for the Oilers, and then you got Connor McDonald for the Oil Kings. He had 8 points there, so those were the leading scorers for the Edmonton Oil Kings over the Calgary Hitmen here. So on Calgary side of the puck here, Captain Mark Kastelek led the way with 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points. Jake Kriske, although he's out and likely won't return, he actually had 7 points in 4 of those games. So could use him, but he's unavailable with an injury, and I think he's done for the year. And then Caden Elder and Igor Zamula also had big games for the Calgary Hitmen against the Edmonton Oil Kings here. And then when it comes to goaltending here, it's going to be a tough cookie no matter how you slice it here. You're either going to face Todd Scott, who's their backup, or Dylan Miskew, who has been the goalie that faced the Hitmen the most this season. He had a 6-0 record with 235 goals against average and a 933 save percentage here. So those are pretty good numbers there. That gives you an idea how dominant Edmonton's been every season. Calgary, their hope is can Jack McNaught continue his strong play as he took over the net during the regular season over Carl Snikowski there, and pretty much he was the reason why Calgary was able to win a couple of those games when we needed, especially games 3, 4, and 7 against the Lethbridge Hurricanes, so we could still be in the playoffs right now here. So before looking at the schedule here, I'm going to bring up the other playoff series to recap. So in the first round here, in the Eastern Conference here, in the other series here, the Prince Albert Raiders swept the Red Deer Rebels 4-0, and the Saskatoon Blades swept the Moose Jaw Warriors 4-0. So both Prince Albert and Saskatoon are going to play each other in the second round here. That's definitely going to be a heavyweight matchup here. So whoever wins between the Calgary Hitmen and the Lethbridge Hurricanes will either take on Prince Albert or Saskatoon. So there's going to be a tough team waiting for either one of these teams in the Conference Championship. And as I mentioned in the opening there, the Edmonton Oil Kings defeated the Medicine Hat Tigers 4-2, and the Calgary Hitmen defeated the Lethbridge Hurricanes 4-3. So that's why they're playing each other Excuse me. So that rounds out the Eastern Conference side of the bracket. Excuse me. So if you go to the Western Conference, the Vancouver Giants defeated the Seattle Thunderbirds 4-2. This is the BC division we're looking at here. And the Victoria Royals defeated the Kamloops Blazers 4-2. So Vancouver and Victoria are going to play each other. So you got the two biggest cities in Alberta and the two biggest cities in British Columbia facing off each other in the second round here. And then if we look at the U.S. division here, the Everett Silvertips defeated the Tri-City Americans 4-1. And the Spokane Chiefs defeated the Portland Hawks 4-1. So Everett and Spokane are going to play each other in the second round in the conference semifinal. So there's your final 8 teams in the WHL playoffs here. And the one thing to note here is that the only series where the lower seeded team beat the higher seed team was actually the Calgary Hitmen over the Lethbridge Hurricanes here. So that's the bracket here. So looking at this is just looking at the lead score for each team here. So Calgary Hitmen had 3 players that scored 7 points here in the playoffs, led by Mark Kastlik, who had 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points. Carson Fook, who definitely was big for the Hitmen there in Game 7, he has 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. And then Dakota Krebs has a goal and 6 assists for 7 points there. And then you got Luke Coleman, Cale Zimmerman, and Riley Stotts, all each with 6 points there for the Hitmen. So we definitely have some spread out offense that could come to our advantage if we were to take out the Edmonton Oil Kings here. Obviously, as if we could solve their goaltending here. And then Jack McNaughton, he won the season, won the series. He's 4-3, but his goals against ours was .363. Save percentage was .889, but it was definitely a high-scoring series that Calgary and Lethbridge had, which first carried over from the regular season. So if you look at the Edmonton Oil Kings, the puck here, keep in mind they only played 6 games in the first round here. Vince Lovichaux had 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points there. And then Trey Fox Olansky, another player that has been their leading scorer for the Oil Kings. He has 3 goals, 4 assists for 7 points there. And then they had 3 players with 4 points here, with Quinn Benjafield, Andrew Flanagan, and Jake Neighbors. So I'm going to say, based on these numbers here, they have spread out offense too, but concentrated a little more at the top here. And then I can't find let's see if I can't find any. Oh, here's the goaltending stats here. So when it comes to the playoffs here, well, actually, both goalies did play, believe it or not. And here it show the wins here. Well, I'm just WHL Playoffs. Todd Scott was 3-0, and then Dylan Miskew was 1-2. Goals against ours for Todd Scott was .269, and Dylan Miskew was .337 here. So the goaltending looked a little not as strong here against the Nesnet Tigers here. So maybe we could exploit that right now. So I'm going to say overall, we could throw away what happened in the regular season out the window here, but we definitely going to need the offense on our part, and Jack Manon's going to have to basically outdo Dylan Miskew or Todd Scott. But I'm going to likely say Dylan Miskew is going to be the goalie for the Oil Kings, considering he had most success at the Calgary in the regular season here. So when it comes to the schedule here, Edmonton has home ice in this best of 7 series. So game 1 happens on Saturday, April 6th. They'll be at Rogers Place, 7 p.m. puck drop here. And then game 2 will happen the next day on Saturday, April 9th. The Calgary Hitmen will be playing the Edmonton Oil Kings at Rogers Place again, 5 p.m. puck drop here, so that's the first 2 games. And then when the series shifts to Calgary here, Game 3, Tuesday, April 9th, that'll be at the Scotiabank Saddledome, 7 p.m. puck drop. Game 4 will be the next night, on Wednesday, April 10th, Scotiabank Saddledome, 7 p.m. puck drop. And then if we need Game 5, this will happen on Friday, April 12th, things will go back to Edmonton. That'll be a 7 p.m. puck drop. And then if Game 6 is needed, it will be on Sunday, April the 14th. It'll be back in Calgary with a 2 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome. And then Game 7, if this series needs all 7 games, Tuesday, April 16th, will be back up in Edmonton at Rogers Place with a 7 p.m. puck drop here. So now this is where I'll give my prediction based on everything that I read and put together, and also I'll factor in what the Dev Network here say. So I mean, when I look at the regular season series here, you could say this is definitely a mismatch here, and the Calgary Hitmen have definitely, you know, considering we were the 3rd worst team in the league last year, we're in for a huge improvement. Being in the second round of playoffs here, with especially with 2/3 of the roster we had last year. But I'm going to say, considering how strong we looked in the second half here, and we got pieces in place here that could pull off an upset here, I could see this being another series that's going to need all 7 games here. I mean, the last series there, I actually thought I was being a little nice here, and I actually said it was going to be Lethbridge in 7 here, and the Dub Network actually said Lethbridge in 6 there. Well, good thing I was wrong, because here we were talking about the second round there. Ultimately, it was Calgary in 7 here. Well, the Dub Network, when they actually put their official prediction there, they said that the Edmonton Oil Kings were going to beat the Calgary Hitmen in 7 games here. I'm going to flip down side on that and say, with the timely offense that Calgary has, and you know, you could throw everything out away in the playoffs from the regular season here, and I'm definitely going to say, like the Lethbridge series, I think the first 2 games are going to be extra physical because these teams are going to be in each other's throats here. I think that's going to put the advantage of the Calgary Hitmen here. So I'm going to officially say the Calgary Hitmen will win this one in 7 games. I think the run here is going to continue here. This is just as much as a regular season matchup as mismatch as we had against the Lethbridge Hurricanes here, and we did manage to beat the Lethbridge Hurricanes here. I will definitely going to say this: we can't go to the well again, going down 2-0, going home, and then have to win 4 in the next 5 here. I'm going to say this time for sure, we're going to need to be at least split coming home to Calgary to have a chance here. But I mean, 3 of the 8 games, I mean, were decided in a goal, and a couple of them were decided in overtime here. So I'm going to say it's a little closer than what the regular season suggests here. So, but I'm going to expect another classic, you know, Battle of Alberta here, as we always say, and you know, both when it comes to the rivalry of the whole province. That's what's definitely one of the things that makes this province, you know, the beauty of this province and resilience, and definitely different views here. So anyway, if you enjoy everything I'll do on my YouTube channel, just make sure you hit like, subscribe, and episode 17 we'll be recapping, which I'm sure will be another exciting classic Battle of Alberta here, and hopefully I'll be recapping that the Calgary Hitmen pulled off yet another upset against another Alberta rival, this time the Edmonton Oil Kings here. So bring on the Oil Kings, let's go Hitmen, and let's try to get to the conference championship, and maybe push the Saskatoon Blades or Prince Edward Raiders here on the road to the Memorial Cup there. So I'll see you in the next video, and thank you.